which is right now being organized in 17 different battleground states. And I, as well as Ken Salazar, Secretary Salazar, serve as the co-national chairs, but then we have different councils set up throughout those 17 battleground areas, including California, because California is really one of those warrior states where we send out our troops and we fight like heck to win. And what we're doing with the campaign, and you know this, maybe you've heard of it, the biggest buy ad in history by any campaign so far is $290 million that will focus on Spanish language ads and bilingual ads targeting our Latino community, and going even more granular, where we know we have such a diverse group of Latinos that speak and represent different countries. We're going to be targeting Puerto Ricanos for Biden, Salvadoreños for Biden, Mexicanos for Biden, Venezuelans for, on and on and on. So we're going to have targeted programs, and we're going to get each state, those targeted states, especially the ones that are Arizona, Nevada, and Florida, and Wisconsin. We're going to have key leaders there, elected, as well as union, as well as women, all of our labor groups coming together and helping us do this coordinated campaign. And it's one that I haven't seen before. And I'm just so proud and honored that the Biden campaign put this together. Please go on our website so you can also see the Biden agenda for Latinos, and it lays out a very methodical plan of what he's going to do on immigration reform, on healthcare, and combating COVID-19, this pandemic, and making sure that worker safety and unions are strong. Those are the really important things. So it talks about the economy, the billions of dollars that we're going to be providing through his plan for entrepreneurs and small businesses, raising the minimum wage to $15 around the country, healthcare, expanding that ACA, and of course, immigration reform and DACA. So again, those things that I know people really care about in our Latino community, and we want people to join us. So it isn't limited just to electeds and what have you, but we want people to join up. So please go on board and identify yourselves and get other friends on board. Thanks, Yvette.
Great. We have another question. This one is for you, Delores Huerta. This is about Prop 16 that's on the ballot in November. It would overturn Prop 209. Have you endorsed, and give us your thoughts about that ballot measure?
Oh, absolutely. And this is so important for women because before Prop 209, the state of California had to let out contracts, public contracts from our public governments to people of color and to women. Of course, Republican Pete Wilson did a campaign to eliminate Prop 209, but now we're going to bring it back. We're going to bring back affirmative action so that our young people of color will be able to get into universities, and that women will also be able to get public contracts. And so it's going to be very, very important that that we support that. Also, Proposition 15, I want to put a shout out on that one too, because Proposition 15 will actually tax make the big corporations like Amazon and Disney World and people like that, Disneyland, to pay their fair share of property taxes. So those are very, very, very important propositions. But I wanted to add one more thing to Hilda's list that she was when she was talking about what our newly elected President Joe Biden will do. And that is about healthcare, because we know that so many of our Latino population has been so adversely hit by the pandemic, and that our numbers, especially here in the Central Valley, are farm workers that have gotten sick, and many of them that have died from COVID-19, and many of them, as we know, had pre-existing conditions. So Joe Biden is really committed to make sure that we will have healthcare for every single person in the United States of America. Some of it will be the Obamacare, some of it might be a public option, but he is committed to that. And this is such an important issue for everybody in our community. So we've got to get that word out to everyone so that they will know what to expect from President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris.
Okay, one more quick one for Supervisor Hilda Solis, and then we will have a presentation from our field coordinators. Patricia would like to know, as a census worker since October 2019, I've seen firsthand how hesitant Latino and Native American communities are to engage. What can we do to gain their trust, and how can we get them to register for the census?
Absolutely necessary. Nobody should be discriminated or feel discriminated against or intimidated There is no reason for anyone not to fill out that form. It's not about your status, if you're undocumented or if you're a resident or a green card holder. It's about everyone being counted. And it means that we lose out money. We lose out almost $2,000 for every person that doesn't fill out that census. When you add that up over 10 years, because we only do it every 10 years, we're going to lose out billions of dollars, which means less health care, less education, less childcare, less ability to have elected officials. We stand to maybe even lose a representation here in California because of what the Trump administration would like to do to somehow eliminate those individuals that don't have legal status in our country. That is just wrong. That is anti-constitutional, and we know it, and we're going to fight like the Dickens. So we need to make sure that we do everything. We get everybody involved and engaged to be a part of the census. We still have another month to do this. They're cutting it short, the Trump administration, because they deliberately want to cut back on our representation. That's his MO. And we've got to say, no, we're not going to stand for it. And this is not a public charge. Nobody asks you about your status. Nobody will ask you those personal information. All they want to know is who lives in the household, what your background is. You can do it in 10 minutes online or on the telephone. In fact, census workers are going and knocking on doors this week. So don't be afraid. Ask them for their badge, their information, so you're clear, so you're not intimidated. And do the right thing. Cuéntate. Make sure that you're counted.
Okay, great. That was a really great question. Thank you so much. So now we're going to turn it over to our amazing field coordinators. As everyone may or may not know, we have an incredibly comprehensive coordinated campaign taking place throughout the state that's targeting at the federal level all the way down to local, and which includes our propositions as well. So I want to turn it over to Krista de la Torre and Bridget McConaughey. They are going to share a screen and give you some ways and ideas of how to stay involved and stick with us for the next 78 days.